$200, a Super Nintendo setup costs twice as much as the old system. For the money, the company promises better pictures, sound, and adventure. Now you're playing with power, superpower. You're the king, I tell you! The king!
Only for Super NES.
Only on Super NES.
You're listening to the SNES broadcast with your hosts, Soul Blazer and George.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it is for you that are listening to this. This is Super NES Podcast, episode number 107. You probably know the usual opening spiel by now. I'm Greg. He's George.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Slings a web, something. I forget the lyrics, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm sorry about the script.
It would have been really cool if the newest game had that song in it. That would have been an awesome Easter egg.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have it. It has the pizzeria song.
Oh God!
It does.
I love that song.
If you go near the one of the pizzerias, you hear it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway, we're not talking about the new Spider-Man game.
No, but I know, but you know, like we thought about the podcast, I've already covered that. But I was inspired to cover this game partly because of that game. Because to become a big Spider-Man fan, and I really wanted to play that game. George had already bought it and beaten it, and is ready to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I just simply have no time to play a new game like right now. So I will pick it up eventually. But however, I did find a better tie-in though, to this game, because we're covering in this episode Spider-Man and Venom: Maximum Carnage.
I'm glad you read the whole title.
The first of it's important to say because there are two Spider-Man and Venom games in Super NES, and this is just the first one.
But a lot of people who bring up this game just call it Maximum Carnage,
which I understand because, that is the easiest, easier title to use. But
right, but it's very confusing when someone like me is trying to look for it in his list of games that he definitely owns, and couldn't find it. Oh wait, it's under Spider-Man and Venom. Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense now.
To its credit, both Game FAQs and Wikipedia will pull up this game. You type Maximum Carnage, so they at least have the search engines done right.
I understand if you're talking to somebody about the game, you're not just gonna keep calling it Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage,
right?
But when you're typing it out on the internet or something, come on.
Right. Well, so as I mentioned, better tie-in. On the day this podcast publicly dropped, it's publicly it's public release anyway. The new Venom movie will be coming out in theaters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay.
So yep. Yeah. So there's your tie-in.
Well, dang. Look at that.
The movie looks pretty good. I'm not sure if I'm going to pay the $15 to go see it in IMAX, but I probably will see it eventually. So,
is that how much movie tickets are now?
Well, if I want IMAX, yes, that's how much it is. Because
you
I
might
prefer
as
to
well
see how
just
much
wait till the Blu-ray comes out and buy it for $5 more or whatever.
There are certain advantages. There are certain advantages to seeing a movie like the big screen, I think. But
I'd rather pay. I don't even know how much movies are on Blu-ray when they first come out. But I'd probably rather pay the money for the Blu-ray and get the sit-at-home experience than possibly be bothered by a bunch of people in a theater. You know what I mean?
Most movies I feel that way, but there are certain movies I think that really benefit both from the bigger screen and also from actually the visual experience of seeing an audience because everything is amplified like for an audience. The humor, for example, is better. The reactions are stronger, that kind of stuff, because it's like a communal experience.
You want a bigger screen, just get closer to your TV, Greg. I'll make it bigger. When you get closer to the things, they're bigger, Greg. I don't know if you know this, but yeah, that 50-inch, you can make it 70 inches if you get closer.
I wish I had a 70-inch. That'd be awesome.
They're getting cheap enough, dude, which is really scary.
They are getting cheap enough, yeah, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, we're already going way up there. So we have the target like only 5 minutes in. So
What are you talking about?
But-
We're talking about Spider-Man. We're talking TVs are related to Spider-Man because Spider-Man has TVs in them, in the series, and also
Spider-Man-
you can watch Spider-Man on your TV. See, look,
Yeah.
this ties in. This ties in.
I thought I do not recommend the 60s. I'm sorry, the 70s Spider-Man TV show. It's terrible.
There's
wow, is that bad?
There's a Japanese Spider-Man from
I've
like,
seen that. Yes, I have seen that one.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah, if you want to see, yeah, it's like if you want to see a good Spider-Man TV version, the animated series does very good.
Oh yeah,
Because like
I
Fox
haven't seen
Kids,
too much of it, but yes.
yeah, because Fox was behind that, so like they and they know how to make cartoons. So, but anyway, Spider-Man has a very long, complicated history, which we're not going to get into in this podcast, except in passing. But I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I always have been. I just tended to gravitate toward Marvel as opposed to DC as a kid for some reason. So,
Well, Marvel's more about characters that are like mutated or whatever, compared
right?
to
Yeah.
like DC is more of like even if like I was gonna say Spider-Man, that's not true. Superman, even though Superman's like still kind of like a little out there, it's more realistic in a sense because like, oh, he was born that way. Like
Right.
he didn't have like a radioactive man bite him or something and he turned into what he was. He was just he was technically just a normal person.
Yeah. So, yeah. So like Spider-Man and Captain America, like my favorite characters, like as a kid, and that so that like love for those characters like still exist like today. I was telling George off mic before the podcast started. I was reading the Spider-Man comics. Well, the original. I should back up. The original Amazing Spider-Man series. I was reading that up to about 2000 on a regular basis, and then after that, Marvel, like most comic houses, will bundle up collections of issues and release them as either as a book or as like a big comic book style book. Well, not a book, but you know what I mean. Format in later years, and that's how I first read Maximum Carnage because this game is based off the Maximum Carnage comic line, and this was the first game to actually be based off a comic book, your comic book line. So I did read Maximum Carnage shortly after it first came out. But I never played this game for some reason. I just never, I just missed it for some reason because the Spider-Man games over the years have been very hit or miss. There have been a lot of Spider-Man games. Way too many games to mention here in this podcast. But some of them are very good. And some of them are pretty terrible.
Did you know there's 2 on the Master System?
Yes, I did.
Oh, well, there you go.
So the very first Spider-Man game appears to be the very first Spider-Man game appears to be the pinball game from 1980, which I have played and which is like a pretty good pinball game. The first console game was the Atari 2600 Spider-Man game, which I actually like quite a bit. So that's a good game. For limitations of the system, they actually did a great job of capturing Spider-Man.
I would argue that's a pretty ambitious game for the time.
It is, yeah, because because you're Spider-Man fighting like Green Goblin. It's like there's the graphics are pretty good for the system. You can there's a time limit. You like spinner. You go around the stage, firing your webs, and you also have to like watch your supply. You're like the web fluid. This is one difference. This is one of the big differences between the comic books and the movies. Like in the movies, they have Peter Parker having this mutant ability to be able to generate the web fluid himself internally for some reason. Whereas in the comic books, it's always been his weapons were generated by cartridges that he always kept attached to his wrists.
So, like, that's the thing that confused me. It's just like, as somebody who does not know a lot about Spider-Man, but like has access to movies and video games, like in this new one, it seems like it's a combination of both or something. Because like, he'll never run out of web for web swinging, but when he when he's like using like projectiles and whatnot, like he's using like cartridges, and it confused me because I was thinking of the movies, but then I was like, wait, isn't the comic book the other way around or
It
what?
is, yeah.
It's like I hate when series do this where like it makes it really hard to get into it because it's just so confusing. Spider-Man's one of those things that like at certain aspects it just gets really confusing on like what the canon is of like, you know,
it gets
like
worse.
who's Spider-Man and whatnot. And like there's not only like one Spider-Man, there's like Spider-Mans from like different multiverses or whatever. And it's just like, this is just getting too much. I might walk away from it. You know, it's just too much.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's bad. I mean, like, you know, DC does the same thing like their comics, so.
Oh, I didn't say they didn't, but you know, I hate when they do stuff like this. It just makes it hard to get into it.
Well, Peter Parker always tried to make sure he always went out with a full supply of web fluid cartridges. So, like, you know, very rarely did he actually ever have problems with that. And usually when it did happen in the comics, if in the comics there was an important reason for it to happen. So as the game does that, the game's doing a pretty good job of simulating the comics then in that sense.
But naturally, he's able to climb walls?
Yes. Yep.
So this is what I don't understand is like, if he has the power to climb walls, why doesn't he have the power to create his own web?
I guess that was the thinking behind the producers that had to change that for the movies. So, I mean, I'm fine with it that way. I'm just saying, like, you know, the original way, the way to pick in the comics, like, is he has cartridges. So,
right, but like, so like, is the story the same? Like, the spider bit him?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So what stuff does he not have in the comics? Like, that is not like natural. Is he like not naturally strong? Is that like something that he worked up? Like, he actually like worked out to be strong, or did he get strong from the spider bite? Like,
he gets strong with the bite.
Okay, yeah. I don't understand. This is confusing to me.
Real quickly, in a nutshell, what
Hollywood has ruined it for me. No, I'm just kidding.
It's pretty much the same between the comics and the movies, which I'm glad about, because there are some changes. There are some changes that the movies made, such as the whole how he generates the web fluid thing. Most changes like I'm okay with because I'm not one of those like real diehard comic book fans who's like, you know, angry for every like small little thing not being duplicated and reproduced correctly.
No, Die Hard's a totally different movie, Greg. It's a Christmas movie, and Bruce Willis. Go on.
Well, Bruce Willis is on the record of saying it's not a Christmas movie, but you know, we can argue about that like a different podcast because but anyway, in a nutshell, what Peter Parker before the bite was a very nerdy, smart, weak kid. His parents died. His parents died when he was very young. He lives with like an aunt and uncle like in Queens, like in New York. Depending upon the material, Mary Jane either knew him then or didn't know him then. Depends upon the material and the source the source you're going to. But anyway, so he attends a fair one day, and the radioactive spider gets some biting and bites him. And after a couple of days, he notices the changes. And the changes basically are that his body gets stronger. He bulks up a little bit. He gains the ability to be able to naturally climb on walls and ceilings because his fingers can produce kind of like, you know, like small little like spider hooks, like spider hooks. You know, the same way that spiders have. So he gains like increased perception, increased strength, increased endurance. He gets a spider sense, which is the ability to be able to sense when danger is coming at him. And then, like, you know, but so he was always smart. He was always like very, very smart. So like that's one thing the spider bite didn't change on him. His brains. You know, he's always in both the comics and the movies. They do a very good job of showing like his smarts and how he's able to use his intellect to figure out problems and whatnot. And so yeah, he initially wanted to. The movies did a great job with this, by the way. He initially wanted to use his newfound talents to make money, because he didn't have a lot of money. You know, his aunt and uncle was poor. You know, he's victimized a lot, that kind of stuff. So he entered a wrestling match, And so somebody robs the match, and he doesn't stop them because, like, not my problem, because he's angry at the owners because the owners didn't pay him for the wrestling match. And then he finds out later on that same robber killed his uncle.
So this is actually accurate to the
exactly.
The movie is accurate to the
Right. Like I said, the movies did a great job of this because
did Randy Savage come out and be Bonesaw as well?
No.
Bonesaw is ready.
So that's when, so that's when Peter Parker had his epiphany. It's like, hey, I got this power. I need to use this to help people. I can't have this happen again. Great power comes. The great power comes, like great responsibility, that kind of stuff.
Isn't it weird how somebody can say something to you and it doesn't mean anything until something really bad happens?
Yeah, that happens a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's actually pretty realistic, believe it or not.
Yep. So yeah, that's his origin story, like in a nutshell. There's only, I think there's only one game that actually covers that in detail. Spider-Man the movie, which makes sense because the movie covers his origin story. So the game should too. But
right.
So the Amazing Spider-Man was original. The Amazing Spider-Man is the name of the original comic. It's still running today. But as you mentioned earlier, George, there have been a whole bunch of alternate universes and spin-offs over the years. Some of them are pretty good. Other than others of them are obviously cash grabs, I think, and it can be difficult to keep in mind. I think what's actually, and what belongs to what universe and that kind of stuff. So
it's confusing.
But luckily this game dates back to a time period in which that wasn't going on too much yet. I mean, it was starting to happen, but it wasn't happening to this point yet, where it gets super confusing. But anyway, yeah. So this game was developed by a company called Software Creations, and was published by Acclaim. Actually published under LGN brand instead, but which I forgot was still a thing during Super NES days, because because you say LGN, and you usually think automatically about this bad NES games, but no, Acclaim was still using LGN during this time period. So
yes, LJ, one of the actually not bad LJN games.
Well, the thing is that LGN did. The thing is what people don't realize, LGN was just a publisher. Most all the games they published, they didn't make themselves. Somebody else had made the game.
Right, but it's still their game, even if they published it.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. And there are some LGN games that I really like. Jaws, for example, was developed by Atlas. And I think it's actually a pretty decent game, like what it is. So,
I will allow that, Greg.
But yeah, back during the NES days, Acclaim and Konami were so big that Nintendo allowed them to create subsidiary companies to get around the 5 games a year restriction. So
it's weird because whenever I look at Acclaim stuff, it'll be like, oh, this is our address or whatever, or whatever. And their headquarters was actually in my local area, and it's very odd to see all this stuff.
Yeah, there are a few game companies based in New York.
Right, but this is actually my actual local area. Literally, their headquarters was on the island here. Not New York City.
Right.
Literally on the island here. I could drive out to it within 10, 15 minutes maybe.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah. So so I won't go into big detail about Acclaim and LGN here because we've already covered them in past podcasts. Software Creations though is an interesting. Software Creations though is an interesting company. They were a UK company. Originally founded in 1985, and for the first several years they mostly just handle conversions of popular games to computers, which is a very common thing for companies to do back then. This is also the company's origin is also kind of interesting. It's like, like one person placed an ad in the paper looking for somebody to develop games with him. Somebody else, like somebody responded to it. That's how the company started.
Yeah, sometimes that's how things start,
Yeah, well, especially during this time period. This is the year of the so-called bedroom coders, where it's possible for somebody just to sit in their room all day and like write a game and have it like and sell to a magazine and to a magazine for like $200-300, and like get started and get started as a game, like get started as a game developer.
Yes.
Very different times. So yeah, they had like I mentioned, their first years they handled ports of like Bionic Commando, Ghouls and Ghosts, a couple other games. Their first two really big games they developed on their own, like both the NES, are both very infamous games, and I happen to have a soft spot for both games. Well, actually, some people do too. The jury's out in these games. Silver Surfer and Solstice.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer is a very, very tough game, but it's also like very, but it's also like very fun to play, I think. And Solstice is a very difficult, very but satisfying, like 3D, a pseudo 3D action puzzle game.
Right.
They also so they started Acclaim got the rights to make Spider-Man games like in the early 90s, and they started like spinning off, and so they hired Software Creations to start doing the Spider-Man games for them. Their first Spider-Man game was a Spider-Man and Spider-Man the X-Men in Arcade's Revenge, like the Game Boy in 1991, and they developed quite a number of Spider-Man games after that. They also developed Blaster Master 2 for Genesis. And in later years, they did a bunch of like sports games, some more ports, games based off the Rugrats and the Rugrats like some like TV series.
Oh, really?
Yep. They were eventually bought by Acclaim in 2002 and renamed to Acclaim Studios Manchester, and then they're shut down in 2004.
Didn't Acclaim shut down in like 2005? Like the actual like whole company?
Yep. Yeah. So the studio like predated their final demise, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's weird because like Acclaim did have like some hit and miss titles.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's what happens when you don't put out some quality stuff,
Yep. So this game was developed simultaneously, like both with the Super NES and like Genesis. The differences being your typical Super NES versus Genesis stuff. Graphics and music are a little bit different on both systems. Controls are a little bit different, of course, because of different controllers. But the game came out almost simultaneously. Actually, I'm sorry. The game came out in September 1994 in North America, and 2 months later in Europe. Japan only saw the Genesis version only in 1995. The Super NES version did not come out in Japan for some reason.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, this game's the first game, like the first video game to like directly based off a comic book story, as opposed to just using characters. Like from like a video game.
Oh, really?
And this is directly. Yep. And this is directly based off the 13-issue strong Maximum Carnage story arc that Marvel did for Spider-Man series of time. And basically, the plot of the game follows the plot of the comic book very, very well, like all things considered. I will mention the plot here in a little bit, but first, to help set the scene, I also want to spend a couple minutes just talking about Venom and Carnage themselves, because it's like I don't know.
They're two different things.
Yes, and George, this may help you. Venom is more well known these days to casual fans, but Carnage, you really have to have knowledge about the series to really know anything about. So I wanted So I wanted to explain a little bit about them like real quick here. Venom is basically an alien parasite that Spider-Man picked up in an alternate world or one of his like adventures, and for a while, he wore it as a suit. It was a black suit, and we finally gave him like enhanced abilities and powers and whatnot. This is also one of the main plot lines of Spider-Man 3. The Tobey Maguire a movie. So like that movie did a pretty good job of talking about like Venom also. So anybody who's seen the movie has a pretty good idea of like what like Venom actually is.
I didn't really like that movie.
It was all right. It wasn't as good as the first two movies, but I do like it.
It was really weird because it was like they made like an emo Tobey Maguire, and it was just
but that was
really awkward.
But that was faithful to the comic because, like I said,
right. I understand that, but I think the actor was the misplacement here, and I get Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire was doing the first two movies, so it makes sense to cast him for the third movie for consistency. But the way that they handled it and just the actor was really weird. And also there was that one scene where he's going through New York and he's like dancing to music, and it's just really awkward. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so. It's really awkward.
But but the side effect about having the parasite suit was it also like influenced like Peter's emotions kind of make him emotions to make him more like dark and moody. So eventually he realized what was going on, and with Help of the Fantastic Four, he was able to get the suit off, and then he found a new host, and kind of became more like an evil, Brock, the criminal who the parasite found next was already an evil man, so it was like pretty easy for the parasite to take him over, and so eventually Venom got defeated and was locked up. Carnage was created a number of years after the fact by basically being Carnage is like a son basically about the parasite. But because Carnage was formed from the parasite itself, there's no, how can I explain this? There's no human influence. There's no human interaction. There's no sense of morals. Because Venom is evil, but Venom's also willing to do what he has to do for his own survival. Like, for example, a major plot of this game is the fact that he recognizes the danger and would team up with Spider-Man to stop Carnage. So Venom's not totally evil. Carnage is. Carnage like totally is like evil like times 10 as far as it's concerned.
Ooh, times 10. Whoa.
Yeah. And his powers are also depicted as being even greater than Venom, because of that. So because of how he was created. So, originally Marvel had planned to have Carnage and Venom be the same thing, to kind of like retire Venom and use Carnage instead. But Carnage proved to be such a popular character that they're like, oh yeah, okay, we'll just keep him around. And Carnage has shown up every now and then in various issues like over the years.
You're actually making me more interested in actually taking a look at this stuff.
The Maximum Carnage series is very good. Something else, George and I were talking about like off mic. Marvel has a website and a service called Marvel Unlimited, which is a very good depository of many of their comics over the years. And almost the whole Spider-Man series is on there, and I'm pretty sure Maximum Carnage is on there too. I'd be shocked if it's not. So, and apparently, if you buy the new if you buy the new PS4 Spider-Man game, it comes a month free.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
So I got a month to check this out.
Yep. So, the Maximum Carnage series was introduced in 1993. By around 13 issues. Like I said before, the plot of the game basically follows the plot of the comic pretty well. In this game, Carnage, also in the comic as well, Carnage was hidden inside a criminal, criminal named. I'm actually not sure how to say his name. Titus Cassidy, I think. But nobody knows the parasite in him because it's hidden. And so Kai's is locked up at a Ravencroft asylum. But eventually the parasite is able to generate a copy and take him over, and he becomes Carnage and he escapes. And he also frees a very powerful, also evil a woman by the name of Shrek, as well too. So
What?
Well, Shriek actually, I think is how you pronounce her name.
Oh.
So
I was like, when did Shrek come into this?
So the two of them proceed to just wreak havoc in New York City. But not only are they causing a lot of damage and killing a lot of people, they're also their evil powers combined are so great that they're actually able to influence people's emotions and turn them emotions and turn evil that way as well too.
Oh, jeez.
So Carnage realizes that this is going on, and subscribing to the enemy my enemy is my friend philosophy, comes by him and is like, yeah, this guy's so powerful, we need to team up to actually take him out. So the two of them form an uneasy alliance to team up to stop him. And some other Marvel characters also join them. The comic series goes on to help them. And in the end, Carnage of course betrays his gang because they also had recruited other villains as well too to help him out. But in the end, he betrays everybody, of course. So the heroes use a device from Stark Industries, Tony Stark's company, like Iron Man, to defeat both Shriek and Carnage, and they lock Carnage up again and think he's defeated, but of course the writers leave it open because they want to use him again for later series.
Oh, of course.
So, and the game and since the game follows that pretty closely, actually, I really love how the game does. I really love how the game tells a story. Every now and then, in the opening of the game, and also in between chapters, the stories developed and expanded upon, in a very comic book style presentation.
Some nice cutscenes.
Yeah, very nice cutscenes, like very impressive. So and some of the images, some of the images are straight out of the comics too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So this is your this is your typical beat 'em up game, kind of in the same styles like Final Fight, or Double Dragon, I guess. Where you so we have the ability, play to in most stages play to Spider-Man and Carnage, and both characters have their pros and cons to them. And every now and then you also can find power-up icons, which which I call when your allies are for a limited time to help out out of a tough situation like against the boss fights.
Really? I didn't know that. Well, dang.
Really?
Yeah. I played through a lot of this game and I didn't even notice that.
Huh. I don't know how you missed it.
That's right, Greg. Huh. I didn't know that. Wow.
The icons don't show their portraits, but they're portraits, but they are but they are there.
I don't remember seeing any of them. I must be blind.
The superhero icon. They do have a picture of the icon. There's two different kinds of power-ups in this game. There's regular power-ups,
right,
and there's also superhero icons. And the icons do have a small picture of the character on it. And everyone you find, you can call that and for everyone you find in the game, you can call that person twice, like in that stage.
Well, that'd be very helpful. Jeez.
It is very helpful. So some some of your companions in this game are, well, there are three different groups. Some of these characters are very common and recognizable, like Black Cat and Captain America.
Right.
Some of these characters are lesser known, but they're known to people who read the comics. Firestar, for example. And
Yes. I was like, who is this?
she's a major character like the comics. So anybody who reads the comics like knows who she is. But other characters are very minor characters who were popular for a time, or who Marvel tried to make popular for a time, and they're no longer used. So you're like, who the hell is this person? Like Iron Fist, for example. So, but yeah. So altogether, the game you can call from Black Cat, Captain America, Cloak and Dagger, Deathlock, Firestar, Iron Fist, Mobius. Mobius. So.
You know what? Thinking about it now, I did get one of those pickups where you call for support, but like, right. I didn't realize until now it was a call for support, because like, I was really confused because when I called it in, it like teleported me to like a different dimension, and I was getting attacked by like the Spider-Man doppelganger and the other person thing.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's so much that I don't understand.
Right.
I used a thing and it brought me somewhere else, and I was confused, and people were hitting me, so I hit them back. That's what happened.
Yeah. So the regular power-ups you can find in the game are little hearts, which give you back a third of your energy. Big heart, which fills your life heart entirely. A 1-up, very important to find. And a continue. Because the game starts off with a few continues, but these icons give you additional ones.
So I don't know if I'm stupid or whatever, but I had trouble using the continue screen.
How so?
When it was like asking me to continue, I was like, yeah, but let's go, and I hit start. And then it ended the game.
You may not have any. You may not have any continues left.
No, like this was like after I ran out of my lives the first time. So I got really bothered, and I decided to just cheat. I'll admit it, I cheated.
Well, there are cheat codes in this game, which will cover.
I didn't use cheat codes. I actually used I think it was Game Genie or whatever. I'm a cheater. I don't care. I'm a cheater.
Right. Also, depending upon which character you're playing as, you can also find an icon to call the other person to help you as well too. For example, if you're playing Spider-Man, you can call Venom. If you're playing as Venom, you can call Spider-Man. So, they both have pros and cons. Spider-Man is faster. He's physically weaker. He has his attacks consist of punches and kicks, and he can also shoot his web to stun enemies.
They both although they have differences, they both kind of play the same.
They do play similar
because you can still do that thing where you like reach out and grab somebody from far away. Right. I think they can both create the shield or like block or whatever.
They can.
I think they can still like shoot something. Venom shoots something out. I think.
Yeah,
like Spider-Man, like he shoots out a web. Like they both basically played the same, but yes, they are different in a few aspects.
Yeah, there's a couple major differences between them. And it can influence your gameplay style like a little bit.
I do like playing as Venom though.
Venom's tougher. He's physically stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Can he take more damage?
Yes.
He is slower, however. And he doesn't have quite as many moves in his arsenal as Spider-Man does.
You say he's slower, but let's paint a picture here. He's less agile than Spider-Man, but honestly, in this game, he's still decently fast. He's not.
He is decently fast.
Yeah, he's right. not. He's not slow. He's just slower.
Right? So, yeah. So Venom, you're playing as Venom. you treat this game as your typical beat 'em up, just like get in there and just brawl up everybody like not care.
Yeah.
Spider-Man requires a little bit more finesse to use it because you have to use like more like stick and move strategies.
Right. You can kind of get stuck in a sticky situation.
Ha ha ha. Actually, that wasn't bad. Yeah, I'll give you a point for that one. So,
yay! This is the game where the points don't matter.
Yeah, and there are certain stages. There are definitely certain stages. There's stages like one character is better than another one. Like one for one reason or another. The control scheme of this game is pretty typical. Like for beat 'em ups, like you can walk, run, punch. There's a rushing attack you can do.
Russian attack.
Yeah, rushing attack.
That's a different game, Greg.
It is. Yeah, it is a different game. It's a good game. But,
okay.
You can also do like four flips, back flips. You can also do kicks. There's a straight up kick and a forward jump kick. George already mentioned the grab combo and you can pick up the person. You can also spin the person like above your head. I love that move.
Oh yeah, you can like throw them over. Yeah.
Yep.
And bounce or throw them into the other enemies. Yeah.
And you can also do a special attack. Like most special attacks in games like this, like go take a small bit off your like go take off a small bit of your health gauge. So be careful using these. And your life bar is flashing, which you can achieve by doing accurate attacking. You can also do like a special power hit attack. The web controls also like have their own controls. You can fire the web bolt. You can do the shield. There's web grab you can do. The web line that you can use to swing. The double smash also involves. Oh, the double smash is great. You basically take both enemies on either side of you. You spin out simultaneously grabbing your web and and then swim together like smash them into each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun move too.
Oh man, that's some good stuff right there.
You can also use your web attacks like we were also climbing the wall with web lines, and web pellets. So there's a lot of controls in this game, and that's one of the that's one of the downsides of this game, I think. I like the controls. I appreciate the fact that this game does have so many moves and move combos because most beat up games don't. They are a bit clunky, however, and they are a bit hard to get the hang of and remember all of them, especially if you're new playing the game, trying to remember all the moves and combos you can do.
How is it clunky? I'm interested.
It's easy in the heat of moment, I think, to do to try to do one thing and actually do something else.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you mean.
And also the collision detection felt off in some in some areas.
Yeah, when you're close enough to an enemy, you won't hit them.
Yeah.
Which is weird. So there's dead space between grabbing them and hitting them, and that feels awkward. But otherwise, I feel like the hit detection's actually pretty good. Other than that issue of them getting too close, or
I'll agree with
close
that.
enough that you don't hit them.
Right. Yeah.
But there's like a nice little touch where when you're swinging around, you can hit the enemies while you're swinging around without hitting an attack button, which is really nice.
Yeah. So yes, definitely. Like I said, I do appreciate all the moves, the moves and combos you can do. Just it takes a bit to get the hang of it, the hang of all of it.
Yes, it's a lot of figuring out which way you should be pushing down on the D-pad and what buttons you should be pushing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and the controls didn't always feel responsive. Felt like somebody just there's a lag. I'm
I
not
didn't
really sure.
get that feeling, but you could be right.
So, it's about a dozen stages like a dozen stages like in this game. They all have the cutscene. The cutscenes in between them.
Yeah.
Most stages have bosses. Not all of them. Not all of them, but there are some. But most of them like do have bosses.
Yeah, what's up with the bosses? They have like this green health bar that you have to like pummel them until it like goes away, and then you could start hurting them. I don't understand that. Is there like an explanation to this or something?
I think it's supposed to be like a double health bar. Like how like some games like Final Fight.
Well, that's weird because when I hit them, I never saw it deplete. It just randomly disappeared until the red health bar showed up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Is that like a glitch, or is it just supposed to be like that?
I think it's supposed to be like that. I've always
that's a weird design decision.
It could be representing their defense. Meaning you have to like weaken them for a little bit, before you can actually start doing like damage.
Which is weird because then once you defeat that boss, at least this is what I've seen. Like once you defeat that boss, they just turn into a common enemy. So it's like, well, why were they the boss in the first place then?
Well, all these enemies are from the comics as well, and all these enemies were either mutated or were enhanced for humans to begin with. So I think the game's like trying to show that.
Okay, that's weird though, because like also like you see the same enemies over and over again. There's like no, yeah. There's hardly any difference.
There's only like six varieties of common bugs like this game.
Yeah, it's just like there's like X amount of like not models, but like X amount of sprites, and then like, oh, for variety, we're just gonna palette swap them like 3 times or whatever.
Yep.
And we're gonna give them like one of 3 common names or whatever.
There are trench coats like young punks, babes, fat guys, umbrellas, and guns are the rough names given to the groups of enemies in this game. So
great names.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, enemy variety.
I'm part of the guns. Great.
Enemy variety in this game is definitely limited, unfortunately.
I would argue variety in general because like at least, so this is the weird thing. Like when I played as Spider-Man, I felt like I was doing the same stages over and over again. But Venom, when I was playing as Venom, I felt like there was actually more variety. You know, like there are parts where like Spider-Man has to go to like a specific area, so like it will change up. But
right,
I could have sworn that I played the same like New York streets area like 20 times. not actually 20 times, but like I definitely saw it way too many times. So like that's when I started really playing as Venom, because that's where I started seeing more variety.
I was gonna say, actually, I thought the actual stage variety in this game was like pretty good because unlike many games, you don't stay. This game, unlike many Spider-Man games, you actually get to go outside New York City like this game. Like in many games, they limit you just New York City. At least this game has you actually traveling. You're traveling different areas.
Why? What's wrong with New York City, Greg? What are you trying to say?
Nothing. I'm just saying, like, it is nice to see a game that actually like goes, because Spider-Man did in the comics occasionally leave New York City to let it go do things like other parts of the world. So, so I have a game that actually represents that actually models that, like, pretty cool.
What do you have against Queens, Greg?
I've never been there, so nothing.
Good. Don't go there. That's a warning for everybody.
Yeah. For example, one stage takes place in like San Francisco.
Oh, don't go there either.
No, San Francisco I have been to. Like, it's a nice city. Yeah, San Fran I like a lot. Just don't live there; too expensive.
I heard a lot of horror stories about San Francisco.
Depends on the area.
That I can't really repeat on this podcast.
Depends upon the area. Well, of course, like any city, there's good parts and bad parts. But
I don't know if there's any good parts to a city. Is that just me? That might just be me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's like just you.
But seriously, don't mess with queens.
I'll take your word for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, as I mentioned before, the bosses in this game are also taken like the comic series. Carnage, Carrion, Demogoblin, Doppelganger, and Shriek. Like the major enemies that you're gonna fight.
Right.
Then we get to Carnage.
Man, Doppelganger's really tough to fight.
He is, yeah. He's probably next hardest boss in the game, but next to Carnage himself.
He also gave me nightmares.
Appropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah. So going back to stage design here, I certainly do agree with you, George, on the fact that the stage design is a little bit lacking. I do think that I do like, however, how they take you to different locations, and at least the graphics for each area are pretty well done. I mean, the stages at least look different. They even don't play different, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I like how it kind of feels like you jumped into a comic book because the art style.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was going to mention that.
The art style is kind of like comic booky.
Yep.
Which is nice.
Yeah. Right down to the. Yep, right down like to the like to the hit icon. Hit words.
Yeah.
Like what does this actually say? Like it says like it's one of the words that. Oh, it's one of the words they actually use. Oh yeah, thrunk.
I thought you were looking for the word that is defined as that, which is onomatopoeia. If anyone is interested.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't ask me how to spell it because I don't remember how to spell it anymore. just look at just Google search it with your voice. Onomatopoeia.
So you mentioned also, George, you found by accident one of the secret rooms in this game. There are a bunch of secret rooms in this game which you can do which you can probably do like certain moves in certain areas.
That was the secret room. I thought I just entered the danger zone.
Well, you can call that if you want to, but it's a secret room.
I thought Kenny Loggins was gonna pop out and fly a jet. And Top Gun. I don't know.
The secret rooms are useful. The secret rooms are useful because they're because usually they'll provide you with a shortcut once you exit them.
Okay.
They're also like a good source like power. They're also like good source of power up icons.
And in my case, it was a very good source of getting beaten up.
Yeah, the enemies in them. The enemies. The enemies. Some of them like are pretty hard.
I never understood like this. Like, do they just come out like randomly, or because like it felt like Doppelganger and whomever would just come out randomly and just beat me up for fun. And there was like actually one time where I was playing through a stage and they randomly came in and beat me up, and then they walked away and the stage ended.
Yeah, that actually mirrors something. Yeah, that actually mirrors something that happens in the comic.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. I was very confused as to what happened, but it's good to know that it was following the comic. Okay. All right. Weird.
But yeah, like so like you can definitely enjoy the game if you don't in the comic, because I said that.
But you'd still be very confused as to what's going on.
Well, I think the game shows you enough of the plot of the comic so you can figure out what's going on.
It does, but like again, like there were, like I said, there were times where I did something or something happened to me, and I was just thoroughly confused. And I don't know if that makes sense if somebody reads the comics or what, but to me, I was just a confused little boy. The game also tries to capture some of the humor that the comic had in it also. For example, there's one cutscene later on in the game where like Spider-Man and Venom ask J. Jonah Jameson of the Bugle to publish an article to lure Carnage into a trap. And like the comic book cutscene shows the guy reading it,
and then Carnage shows up behind him upside down, like, hey buddy, like, done like reading that paper? Then the guy like freaks out like running. The guy freaks out like runs and like runs away scared like it was a life.
I mean, if I saw Carnage or Venom in real life, I would literally be like out of my skin. Like, that's how afraid I would be. Like, that, just very creepy. Just creeping out.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, the game does a pretty good job of showing that too, I think.
Yeah, they're like something that would come from a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The graphics themselves this game, I think are pretty good. Not only do they have,
Yeah.
not only do they have that nice comic book style, but the characters are pretty large, like well defined. And good use of color on them as well. A lot of stages almost look hand drawn in some areas. I know it's not, but they did such a good job of capturing the comic book style that
Right,
I don't swear by it.
I definitely had like I definitely had a feeling about like the character sprites, like not like the enemies or anything, but like Spider-Man and Venom and whatnot. Like oh, these kind of look like they're hand drawn themselves.
Yeah. So, and the graphic style does change from stage to stage. Also, depending on like where you are. Like outside, for example, like shows like buildings, city streets, whatnot. The Fantastic Four lab, which you break into at some point by getting a weapon. Gives you a very like confined, closed in claustrophobic feel to it. The rooftops do a pretty good job of actually like portraying like height. So yeah, like I see all around the graphics, the graphics of the game the graphics of the game very well done. Did you know, George, that there was a Rock Band connection to this game for the music?
I did not.
Actually, there's a two of them. The soundtrack of this game was actually written and produced by an American rock group called Green Jelly.
Oh my!
I've not heard of them, but I guess they're popular like for a while in the '90s because they were hired to make the game soundtrack. So, the title screen, the theme song of the game by the title screen is actually the first track of like the 1994 album Carnage Rules. But it's not recorded music because, of course, the recorded music, of course. But a computerized rendition of the song because the obviously limited storage capacity like at the cart.
So this is interesting. The band's name is spelled out Green Jelly, but there's an umlaut on the Y, so you pronounce it Green Jello.
Oh, okay. There's also the other Rock Band connection is that somehow, for some reason, they got away with using a version of the Mob Rules by Black Sabbath. They like the soundtrack too, at one point. I don't know how they got away with it, but they did.
So this band is still together.
Really?
Yeah, but also, so here's some interesting stuff that I see here. First of all, one of their websites is greenjellosucks with two x's.com. The other thing I see on Wikipedia is that one of the genres that they are listed under is comedy rock. Also, their member list is longer than probably the list of people I know in real life. So, yeah.
So So it makes sense to me actually that a rock group was hired like to do the music to do the music of this game because that's have a very like rock band like feel to it. It definitely sounds to me at least like appropriate like rock metal like music used in this game. I like the soundtrack for the most part. It's pretty good.
There's a lawsuits section under here for this band.
Oh, geesh.
So, yeah. Something about Kellogg's suing them, and Metallica suing them, and Kraft suing them.
Oh, geesh.
Yeah.
So, music... So music, George. What do you think?
Good. Does
it make sense now that does it make sense that a rock group like did the music now that you like know that?
I guess. I want to know why it's specifically this band. This is weird. This is a weird band.
Usually in deals like this, one or two things either happens. Like either the company specifically goes to them to ask them to use their music or to reach the music because they know somebody or they know somebody there through their connection with like whatnot. Or the group's a big fan of whatever project, and they approach the company themselves, but like asking you the music. I don't know, but either but either example could be the case here.
I don't see a reason here, but they definitely bring this up. They do bring this game up in the article here.
And this wasn't the only Super NES game that had soundtrack done by a professional rock group either. So.
Right.
So, but I mean, it's pretty good music. Music. I think it does fit the theme about the comic overall because they're like dark and gritty and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a good music. Sound effects also are very nice. They're very comic booky, if that's a word.
It's not, but I guess you can make it one. Well, it'd be more like a term, I guess.
A term, yeah, that works.
Yes, it's very comic booky. I like how the comic bookiness is high. I don't know what I'm saying.
The overall, like most beat-em-up games, the average playthrough of this game is about an hour long.
Sounds about right.
The speed run appears to be done in 22 minutes and 5 seconds.
Jeez. Wait, is that tool assisted or is that an actual speed run?
That's an actual speed run.
Huh. Okay.
So
I wonder how fast a tool assisted would be.
I don't know. I don't see one here.
Really? Where are you looking?
Just the basic front page for YouTube.
Not the best source of information on speedruns, but I can see why you use that.
But they usually say if it's a tool-assisted speedrun or not. So.
Right, but there's definitely tool-assisted speedruns of this.
Okay.
There's one that's. What is this one? How long is this one? The video's 30 minutes long, but what is the actual? It doesn't say. So around 30 minutes. That can't be right. If somebody can speedrun in like 22, there's got to be a faster one then. Gotta be a faster tool-assisted speedrun.
Yeah, I'm looking at this video now, and the guy specifically says that's like no cheats. So.
Here's one that's 20 minutes.
Okay, there's there's a long description here, and like this video is saying, explaining exactly how he's able to pull it off. He's able to manipulate the combo system of the game, and like do certain other tricks and whatnot to be able to actually like get it down this fast. So okay, yep, this is legit.
The fastest I see, and as a world record, 80%, 16 minutes 54 seconds.
Damn, that's pretty good. So, what do you think about the overall difficulty of this game, George? Do you find it too hard?
Well, I couldn't beat it in 16 minutes, so it was very hard. I feel like it's more on the harder side, but definitely not brutal. Well, the fights with like doppelganger and whatnot can be brutal.
The boss fights in this game are very tough.
Yeah, but otherwise, not too bad.
Yeah, you mentioned having to use cheats earlier, so. But
that's because I'm very bad at video games, and I also got very fed up with the continued screen screwing up on me or whatever.
Oh yeah, okay,
So,
yeah.
Well, this must be world record because this guy actually got this time 2 months ago.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're like notes and observations, the artwork for this game is the exact same artwork that was is the exact same artwork that they used in the comics. And it's a great picture. Like, it's very, very good.
Yes.
This is only one of 2 Super NES games that I'm aware of. I may be forgetting one, but I'm only aware of 2 games that did this. The first edition run of this game was a special color. The game originally came out like in a blood red cartridge shell.
Yes.
Later, not every copy of the game has that. Later runs came standard color gray, but it's very fitting for the dark and bloody theme of the comics that they actually want to do like a blood red print run of the game like that. So like very cool. The only Super NES game I can remember right now that actually had it that also did a colored shell was Donkey Kong Country. Came like a banana yellow color.
I like bananas.
So I mentioned before cheats. There are some cheat codes available in this game. There's actually 3 codes you can use in this game. They all going to be done. They all going to be done on the title screen, and they all going to be done with Control 2, and they all going to be done very, very, very fast. You only have a few seconds to input like each code. One code will give you 5 continues. One code will give you like 5 lives, and the last code will give you 8 times your normal energy bar. There's also a bug / exploit to be able to take an enemy out again and again and again to rack your points up to 1,000,000 points. So there's also hidden stages in this game that you can't access normally, but you can access because apparently it didn't make the final cut of the game. There's Statue of Liberty hidden stage as well, which can't be accessed by your normal methods of being in the right place at the right time and doing a certain move. You have to be Venom in a stage, and during the cinema scene, you have to rapidly press the X and Y buttons, and if you do it successfully, then you're taking that stage. So that's also kind of like an exploit / bug, I guess, if you can call that. This game got mixed reviews when it came out, and it gets mixed reviews now. So people are consistent, on that part of it at least. It's I think people's enjoyment of the game kind of depends upon their overall enjoyment of Spider-Man himself. Also, also like you also how much that they enjoy beat 'em ups.
I think Spider-Man enjoys himself, so I think that's good enough, right?
Well, he also has Barry James' girlfriend, so like.
Did you know that there's a comic that they put out? I don't know if it was Marvel. I don't know who it was. But there's a Spider-Man comic where like he's older and like he killed Mary Jane because his spider stuff gave her cancer. And do you know that's a thing? And he's like a depressed man.
That's one of the alternate universe lines.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, some of the alternate lines, some of the alternate universe lines are pretty good. Like for example, just a quick side note. One of the ones I really enjoy, like Spider-Man 2097, which is kind of like Spider-Man in like a futuristic sci-fi world instead. So that's pretty creative. There's a lot of neat things they would do in that comic, in the comic, to be takes place in the future.
So here's the thing. The new Spider-Man game, you actually get like all these crazy costumes that I believe are like tied to all these other like
I've heard that.
Spider-Men, whatever you call them.
Yeah, I heard that. Awesome. I'm glad they were able to do that. So,
well, there is a Spider-Man game where like all of the different Spider.
Yes, Ultimate Spider-Man.
No, like it's like I think it's like Shattered Dimensions or something like that. Spider-Man Shattered
I know
Dimensions.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, like they all like come together and like I don't know. I haven't played it, but I know about it.
What was the name of that game?
I think it was like
talking about.
I think it was like Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions or something like that.
It was Shattered Dimensions.
Like
2010.
I said.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good game.
Is it?
Yep.
I heard it was like kind of
one.
mediocre or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Like maybe I'll pick it up. It's probably like $10. Because like an old 360 game.
So one of the other spin-off lines that Marvel's done, and actually, this is one of the most, and actually this is one of like Marvel's biggest comic book lines like right now. Have you heard about the Spider-Gwen series?
No.
Well, Gwen Stacy is a character from the original comics, who's Spider-Man's like original love interest. You have seen Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, right? I think you mentioned that earlier.
No.
Oh, you haven't. Well, yeah. Gwen Stacy's a major character, like those two movies. She was the original love interest.
Huh.
She was killed by Green Goblin during one of the battles. That's what brought like Peter Parker and Mary Jane closer to each other. In this alternate line, it's a Gwen who gets bitten by the radioactive spider, plays it to Parker. And she develops like spider powers instead. So,
okay,
it's a very good series. Anyway, so I was mentioning the reviews. Like I said, they are like all over the place. EGM, for example, ended up giving it a 5 out of 10, saying that the superhero tie-ins are very cool, and they but they criticize the sloppy graphics, like the mediocre control. The controls I understand.
The controls I understand,
but the graphics?
Who wrote that? Who wrote that?
Well, EGM did. They're 4 reviewers that they do. Well, they did back then. I'm not sure they still do now, but
I mean, who specifically wrote it, Greg?
I don't know. I haven't looked up the article.
Well, you know what?
GamePro also give the game a 3 out of 5.
A 3 out of 5?
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Whereas Nintendo Power, I don't think they were biased in this case. They gave the game a 3.4 out of 5.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
So, but and you look at modern reviews, they're also all over the place. There's a couple of like a 1 and 2 star reviews and reviews, and there's also a couple of like 4 and 5 star reviews.
Yeah, and who are the people who rated it 1 and 2 stars?
People who don't like Spider-Man and or beat 'em ups, I guess.
That's something I don't understand. If you, I don't know. If you do, that's like if I reviewed platformers, Greg, and I gave everyone a 1 star or 0 stars. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's, if you don't like a specific like type of game, you're gonna be biased on a review. That's
sure, of course.
That's kind of mean. Why do that?
So one of the neat trivia bit like about this game, even though it doesn't really this concerns the Genesis version more than the Super NES version, but on the this game came out before the establishment like the ESRB and the rating system. The original release of the game in the Blood Red cartridge shell did not have did not have a code on did not have a rating code on it. The re-release of the game did. They gave it the K to A rating. The Genesis version of the game, however, was given the MA13 rating, and it was the very first.
What?
And it was the very first Spider-Man video game to be given a teen rating. So, I don't know why the big difference between the ratings of the two systems, but there is.
Wait, is it a mature rating or a teen rating? I got kind of confused here.
Well, the MA13 rating that Sega was using at that time period.
Okay. I thought you just said MA, like mature, and I was like, why did it get a mature rating? What? I'm sorry.
Well,
that was confusion on my part.
Yeah,
no, I
understand.
understand. I understand. Yeah, no, I understand Sega's rating. I didn't hear the 13 part, so I thought you said.
Okay.
I thought you said like M for mature or something, and I was like, what? I was like, that doesn't make sense at all. But okay, I understand this a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Maybe the Genesis version's a little more violent. Who knows?
It's not. I played it.
Oh,
I played it to compare it.
Excuse me, Greg.
Like I said, this game. Yeah, this is the case. The ports are very, very similar to one another. Just a slight difference. The slight difference like in graphics and sound.
Okay.
So. I don't know the difference. Yeah, I do not know the difference. Why the difference? Like the rating, but there is. So, but
well, again, that's Sega's rating. They didn't send it out to the ESRB, which I thought that was necessary at that point. No.
94. The ESRB wasn't established back then. I'm trying to remember when the ESRB got started.
Pretty sure it was around that era, dude.
Let me look it up like real quick. 90 that year, 94.
Yeah.
So that's why I said. Yeah. That's why I said on the Super NES, the original version of the game did not have a rating on it. The release of the game did. So. But they didn't re-release the game on Genesis. So I guess they would use the Sega rating and didn't have to resubmit it because the game came out before the ESRB got started.
You hear this ridiculous stuff with the ESRB that people have to pay to like get a rating now?
That's been going on for years.
No. I mean like everyone, like smaller studios were able to like if they were small enough, they didn't have to pay to get a rating. But now like everyone gets like a flat fee or something like that now.
Right. Yeah, that part I did hear.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately, but I definitely see this game like I definitely see this game as being like too much for kids. I think like the teen rating for this game like seems right because like I said, the game is based closing out the comic, and the comic's pretty mature in some parts. There's definitely some like blood and guts and some mature themes going on there. So, I think maybe like 10 and above. I think would be like pretty good age at this game.
Yeah.
So overall, I like beat 'em ups quite a bit. I mentioned like I mentioned, like I am like a Spider-Man fan, so that did influence my enjoyment of this game a little bit. It's a solid beat 'em up. I wouldn't call it a great game, but it's certainly decent.
It's something that you can play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing fundamentally wrong with it. Once you get used to the controls, the game, this is this is one of those games. One of the games I think that's you'll be going back to it every day. But this is one of the games you certainly pick up and play. Once every few months or once a year.
This is a game that you play once for a podcast and forget all about it.
Not for me. I think this game is like I think this game is like a once a year game or something like that. But because it's a decent beat 'em up. It's not great. There are better beat 'em ups in the system. But by far it's not the worst beat 'em up game on the system either.
This is definitely a game that I just play for the podcast and then, it's all right. Not something I'm gonna go back to.
Now I thought, I'm surprised you say that. It's like, because I thought you were a beat 'em up fan.
Yes and no. This one just doesn't stand out enough. You know what I mean? Like it's a cool game. It's not the best.
No.
Definitely not that bad.
Oh no,
But like,
played.
There's certainly worse. But
we played worse games.
what was Street Combat Street. What was it?
We can never remember the name of that.
That's more of a
game.
fighting game, though, not a beat 'em up. But
yeah,
I know. Yeah,
so, yeah. The fundamentals of this game are fine. If you enjoy beat 'em up games, give us a spin. If you're a Spider-Man fan, definitely give this a spin because.
Well, do you spin it before you put it in the SNES, or you spin it after?
Both, like for good luck.
Okay, all right. That's what I didn't do right. I didn't spin it. Okay, I gotcha. All right, maybe I'll go back to it now.
This is so overall, this is a decent game. Not the best beat 'em up game on the system, but decent. I think you definitely get more enjoyment out of it if you like Spider-Man and or are familiar with Max and Carnage comic line. Because like I said, you don't have to have read the comic to enjoy the game, but the comic knowledge does help a little bit. So decent game. Not bad. Certainly not the not the best Spider-Man game. Spider-Man 2 has always been my gold standard for being the best Spider-Man game. Which may be matched by the new PS4 game.
I think it's more than a match.
Well, like I said, I haven't played it yet.
I think it blows it out of the water, reconstructs it, blows it out of the water again, and then makes meat patties out of it, dude.
Considering how great Spider-Man 2 is, that's very, very high praise.
Oh, it's definitely way better than Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, but I remember saying to a friend back when the game came out, it's like, wow, both the movie and the game based on it are actually both great. Like when the apocalypse happened.
So here's the question: was the first Spider-Man movie that great?
I like that movie quite a bit. I mean, it is origin story heavy, but
is this first Spider-Man movie really that great?
I think it's a good movie. Yes.
I'm not gonna say it's bad because it's not bad, but I think it's all right.
It was better than the third movie.
Yes, that's great. It is better than the third movie. But the first game based off of the movie
was okay. That was an alright game.
I would say it's almost on the same level as the movie. It does have some interesting parts in the game.
They did.
But
and what I really liked is they took the foundation of that to
actually, that game's more of a beat 'em up.
It is.
Because it's because you didn't have the free roam. It was very linear.
Right, exactly.
And there was I think there was some kind of level up system or something.
There was, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
The ideas of that game, however, they did incorporate in Spider-Man 2 and gave it, Spider-Man 2 is a much better game because of that.
Oh, Spider-Man 2, they had so many storylines and it was an open world and
yep. You have side quests.
You get points to level up skills and get new skills and all this stuff. The only problem is you couldn't swim in water.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a pain in the butt when you had to go save the people in the boat and you couldn't swim.
Oh yeah,
that was the worst part of the game.
I always like avoid those missions because of the like that reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other good Spider-Man games I think I played over the years that are also like very good. Well, I already mentioned the Target with Thunder game. We need to cover this at some point. Spider-Man the Animated Series, the Super NES, is a good game. I think it's based off the based off the show.
Is that a beat 'em up?
It's mostly a beat 'em up, but there's some beat 'em up and some other things. There's some other things you can do in that game too.
Huh. Okay.
It's more of a it's more of a has a bit more like adventure aspects to it in some areas.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. The game's actually considered to be like an action adventure game. So, the rarest 32X game is Spider-Man Web of Fire, which is also like a very good game.
Never heard of it.
Well, there's a reason for that. It's very rare.
Oh.
This was the last game to come out to North America, like 32X. So because of it, because that it got a small run, unfortunately, which is too bad because it's a good game.
If you have a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360, there's a bunch of Spider-Man games for that platform, and
Yes,
they're probably
there is.
very cheap by now, considering that those platforms are almost dead. At
Yep.
least the Xbox 360 is almost dead. The PS3
Yeah,
is probably
some
going
of
to live on for a while.
My favorites from those were Ultimate Spider-Man and the Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions.
I don't think Ultimate Spider-Man was that generation. That was PS2, GameCube, and Xbox.
Yeah, sorry, I should have said that, but
But there's a bunch, and they range from like mediocre to pretty good. So
they also came out with Spider-Man Homecoming, like arcade game last year, which like the local Dave Busters has. Pretty good game.
I know nothing about that.
Yeah, well, it's arcade only, so.
Oh, well, excuse me, Greg. You saying I don't go to the arcade?
I don't think you have one around you.
I don't even know. So you could be right.
There's probably like a dozen virtual.
There's a barcade in like the city.
Barcade can be pretty good.
Yeah, but it's in the city. That's a far trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. So, you mentioned speaking about heading for speaking about heading for cheap. This game's not that bad for price actually. Probably because it has like a big print run.
I would pay no more than $20 for this game.
You'll be surprised. 53 copies of the game recently are currently available for sale. 140 copies that recently sold. Card only. Copies. These prices include shipping, so anywhere from $10 to $46.
Oh, hey, I could buy 2 of those games.
The CIB is not bad either for Super NES. CIB copies range from $46 to $100.
That's not. I mean, the higher end there, oof. But that's not too bad at the starting range.
There's also a sealed copy. There's also a sealed copy of the game recently sold.
For how much?
You want to take a guess at the price?
It's 2 babies and a goat.
Do you want to translate that? Translate
I
that like
do not
American
put
money?
monetary value on babies or goats, Greg. So I don't know.
Well, the monetary value of this game so far is $270.
Oh, huh. That's
So. For a collector, especially Spider-Man, especially like a Spider-Man collector, that's not bad. But anyway, yeah. So fun game. Glad we got to play it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely curious. So the sequel, what's the sequel? So there was a sequel to this game, which is called what was the sequel
Separation
called?
anxiety.
Yes. Yep. We'll have to check that out. Like at some point.
Yes.
So decent beat 'em up game. Like, if you're a fan of beat 'em ups, if you're a fan of Spider-Man, you definitely check it out. So, definitely a pleasant surprise. Not the best game, not the worst. Definitely not the worst. There have been some real stinkers in the franchise over the years, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Also, finally, as a side note, the Spider-Man pinball games, based on movies, which are available on consoles, such as what was the name of that pinball game? Shoot, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the game.
There's a lot of pinball games.
The tables are available for the like on there, and the tables and the tables the tables are very good. So
Okay.
anyway, that's it for this podcast. George, what are we covering? You're covering next on our next podcast.
Oh boy, we're covering Inindo, Way of the Ninja.
Yes, another Koei game, although I didn't play them this way, and this is a very different Koei game actually. So this is more of an RPG.
Yeah. Strategy RPG kind of in a way.
Yeah. There's definitely elements of both.
Yeah, because
so.
there's like a strategy section, and then when you get into fights, more of RPG, and
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Fun game. Played it and beat it quite a number of years. Quite a number of years ago. So I have to go back to it. But decent game. So
Yeah, can't wait to play it.
you've not played this game before, right?
No.
Okay. I warn you now. It's a hard game.
Oh, I know. I know.
It is not a pushover, not by any like means. So.
Oh no, I know.
So anyway, we could be this podcast is a proud member of both Throwback Network and Virtual Junkies. We can find a whole bunch of other great virtual themed podcasts, both gaming and non-gaming related. We are available on Facebook. Please, check us out there. Give us any comments, suggestions, etc. We also have an email address. We can reach us at the SNES podcast at yahoo.com. George, what other podcasts do you do?
Oh boy. Well, we do another one called PlayStation Power.
Yes, we do.
That's where we talk about goats. No, that's not true. We actually talk about cows. No,
I thought there was
not
actually a
true
Goat Simulator game.
Yeah, but that's not for what the consoles we cover.
True.
That would be interesting though. Imagine an episode just covering that game. It's an interesting game. All right. Anyway,
That's more. Yep.
PlayStation Power, where we cover games on PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation Portable, and not the PS3. I'm sure once that emulator starts getting some good support there, maybe
Decent.
we'll think about it. But I also do Master System Masterpieces, where we cover Master System games. And yeah.
Yep. And so we also have a Patreon available. Where for a little like $1 a month, you can receive like such benefits as being shouted out like each episode. As I'm going to shout out both Chad and Richard here for supporting us. Thank you very much, guys. At higher levels, you can also choose to dictate a game of the podcast. Receive early access to get the episode a couple days early.
Woohoo!
We're also available on iTunes, so feel free to check us out there and give us a rating and review if you're so inclined. And I think that's it. I really want to play Spider-Man with the PS4. I just gotta find time.
gotta find a way to buy it.
Well, buying it's easy. Playing it.
Of course.
Playing is a challenge.
Spending money is the easiest part of life.
Yeah, especially. Probably. Yeah, especially since the game's probably available for digital download too. So.
Ooh. Well, have fun downloading it for 10 hours.
Hey, I have a connection that doesn't bother me any. But.
Yeah, but PlayStation Network's slow.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah. Also, if you're using wireless on that PS4, forget about it. That'll take 20 hours, dude.
I'm not using wireless. Thank God for that.
Oh, good. You smart ones. Oof. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Dude, I used to use wireless because I had no choices. Anyway, what do we do? What are we doing? I'm getting into one of those rabbit hole things. Like before the podcast, we got into a rabbit hole for like an hour because I'm just so stupid. Let's just end the podcast, Greg. Come on, end it.
All right, take care, all. Thanks again. See you next time.
I'm Spider-Man. Do.
Nintendo controls 80% of the video market. But no matter how you play the game, or which game you play, things definitely have come a long way since Pac-Man. Now you're playing with power. Super power.